So my earliest memory of gambling comes from sort of my grandparents, more specifically my dad's father, used to gamble on horses on a regular basis, but we're talking small bets, maybe a couple of pound a week. But as we would be taken off to the sweet shop at a very young age, he would slip into the bookies and put on whatever bet he was going to put on that day. I started gambling at the age of 18. For anybody who knows me, they know how much football means to me, and it was the exact same when I was at the age of 18. Coach, play and watch as much football as I can, and on a Saturday morning, what I would do, I'd go off, I'd earn a bit of money, then I'd meet up with my mates at the betting shop, put whatever bets I could on the football happening that day, go off, play some football, get back in the change rooms, check our phones, and if our bets won, brilliant, we were buzzing. If they lost, wasn't the end of the world, we could still go out and have a really good weekend. Gambling started to escalate for me towards the end of my first year at university. I was in the library with one of my best friends and he was playing some blackjack online and I was watching him and I thought it would be a really good idea for me to try and do it to make some extra cash for the summer. However, the first couple of days I started playing, I did make a little bit of money, but within a couple of weeks I'd used up all of my savings and didn't have a penny left to my name. So some of the consequences of my gambling to begin with, to start with, it was a lack of money to be able to be around people, but I was also starting to let people down. I wasn't there for friends through important moments, I wasn't there for my family through difficult times, but also I was relying on other people to fund my gambling and not having no interest in paying them back because it was only money that I was borrowing in my head, but actually it was money that I was taking from them. So the impact on those closest to me, specifically probably my mum, was the weight that the amount I was leaning on her, the amount of damage it did to that relationship. She couldn't trust me. She wasn't able to talk to my own father about it, but also it became really difficult for her in terms of being able to have those important conversations with me because I'd be lying to her, I'd be stealing from her, I'd be letting her down on a regular basis, and it was just a really difficult time for her. My parents were supportive when I told them about my gambling, but they wanted me to stop. And it was a really difficult conversation with them, coming clean and being honest with them about the damage that it had done to me. But the conversation wasn't difficult enough to make me stop gambling. If anything, my gambling went up a level from there, and all I was doing was hurting the people around me more and more. I turned to payday loans, I turned to credit cards, borrowing from friends, borrowing from family, and that was the levels of desperation that I got to. My gambling had a massive impact on my education. I stopped going to my lectures, I stopped going to my classes, I wasn't having my work in on time, sometimes I didn't even bother handing it in at all. But also the social aspect of my education fell apart as well. I wasn't being around my friends, I wasn't going to any social events or anything like that. And in the end it actually led to me failing my second year at university. And I had to drop out of university because of it, because I wasn't in the headspace to be able to study at all. My rock bottom moment came when, in the space of 24 hours, I not only gambled an entire month's wages, but I also stole from work. And when I stole from work, it wasn't about the money, it was more about how obsessive my gambling had become. And all I wanted to do with every single penny that I had available to me was gamble. And it led me to a really dark place. I turned things around by looking for support that was out there and available to me. I reached out to a support group, joined them, and spoke to like-minded people that understood the challenges and difficulties that I was facing. This led to me being able to sort of make a really significant change in my life and to be able to stop gambling for a really significant amount of time, and it was really important that I was able to do that. What helps me stay away from gambling now is the job that I do, speaking to people on a regular basis about the impact that gambling can have on their lives, but also the idea that gambling caused me so much pain and so much damage that I don't want that damage or pain coming back into my life, my family's life, or my friends' lives either.